Stop the cap.
Did you have another question that you wanted to ask over to the ladies?
Yeah, I'm gonna get right into an important
all
question.
right.
And it's not necessarily a deal breaker, so I don't want anybody to think that, but do you already have kids, is my question.
Yes, I already have children, and I do not want any more.
Jesus.
Yes, I do have 2 kids, 2
No.
boys,
No.
and I don't want any more either.
Okay.
Nope, I have no kids, just fur babies. That's about it.
I
Okay.
respect it.
Okay.
Yeah.
7 to be exact.
Damn! 7 dogs?
3 children,
Okay.
and they are young adults.
Okay.
And I am not looking to have any more.
Okay.
It is my time.
I hear you.
I'm
You right.
traveling. I'm
Yes.
traveling.
You in your era.
All these girls talking about they got kids already and don't want no more. He can't even start a new family.
If you think that you can find something in that CDC report, go ahead and feel free. I've already looked at that CDC report, done other extensive research ad nauseum, and the numbers just aren't in black women's favor. It's not the black woman bash, none of that. It's just they're just not in their favor. I think a lot of the part of the problem is in these gender war conversations is that a lot of black women, like their whole cultural belief is one of black male abandonment and the idea that there's a 1-to-1 ratio of black fathers to mothers in the black community, and there just simply is not. That's not the case. Not according to that CDC report. There's a 4.3 million parental gap between black men and black women. 13.4 million versus 9.2 million fathers. That is the biggest gap out of any racial group. I mean, black men's, paternity numbers are right there with white men. White men are 43.9%, rounded up to 44%, and black men are 46%. It's a 2% difference. It's a 2% difference, and black men are the problem. Black men have to be looked at. The smallest demographic in the black community are childless black women at 39%, which is only 8.5 million black women. And I'm just going with the whole numbers because obviously, we're not talking about children when we talk about these numbers. But you could get into some silliness. You start trying to pluck things out of both sides because truth be told, the numbers are actually smaller than that. But childless black men is 10.8 million. You know what I mean? So you have, what is that, a 2.3 million gap between childless men and childless black women. I see a lot of these videos where black women are talking about their singleness and they don't bring up the fact that many of these women are mothers. Black women should not be talking about their singleness and their mothers and then lumping themselves in the category of being a single childless woman. That goes on far too much online. Because if you think about it. If I got 61% of black women are mothers, and you go on YouTube or you go on Instagram and you look at these black women that are bitching, more than half of them are mothers. I can listen to complaints coming from a childless woman. I can't listen to complaints coming from mothers. I'm like, you already had your time on the dance floor. And again, when you go and you look at that CDC report and the fact that 42% of black women are having children under the age of 20, when you look at that number and you look at that reality and you look at the fact that the next cohort up, the largest population of black men that become fathers is between ages, I think it was 20 and 24. Okay, when you look at the reality of that, that means we got a lot of black men and women who are having kids early. And they're having kids before, they have their selves established, finances in order, most certainly before they're married. 62% of white women, I think it's 62.9% of white women, are getting married, or excuse me, white couples. Let me not just say white women. White couples are getting, no, is it women? Let me go look at that CDC report chart right quick. Let me see how they categorize that. Is it women or is it couples? Marital or cohabitating status of first birth for women. Okay, so it is women. 15 to 49. 62.9% of them have kids within marriage. 22.2% have kids cohabitating, which means they're living with their boyfriend and they're pregnant. And then 14.9% are never married, not cohabitating. When you go over to the black community, it's 58.9% never married, not cohabitating. 22.4% that are within cohabitating unions, which is pretty much the same as the white people. So people living together and having babies, pretty much 22% across the board. But when you get to first child being born, and in marriage, it's only 18.7%. So 81% of firstborn black children are born out of wedlock. So when we look at that number, and then we look at the reality that 42% of black women are having children underneath the age of 20, where I think the median age is, I think, 22 for black women, and then for all the other races of women, it's like slightly higher, 25, 27, shit like that. But when you look at that, that shows you, that highlights the fact that these people that young, it's not the 60s in Detroit anymore. So the idea of a 20-something-year-old man getting on his feet, chances are that's not what's happening. What is happening, and this goes into the whole, what is it called? Freaking multi-partner family formation, which there's a researcher, I believe her name is Guzzo, and I think she did a paper with Cassandra Dorius, who was the woman that came up with the report about the 59% of black women have kids by more than one partner, which is only further reinforced by the fact that 24% of black men report having raised a stepchild, while only 14% of black women have reported having raised a stepchild. The part of the problem is like when black women talk about being single, this is the reality of what actually happens. So you got young black man, let's say a 19-year-old black man or 19-year-old black woman getting with a 22-year-old black man. They have a baby together. The relationship doesn't work out. Maybe the families are fucked up, whatever, don't have a whole bunch of economic support, because that's really where a lot of this shit is coming from. Okay? They separate. Jamal goes off and he gets with Tatiana. Keisha goes off and she gets with Tyrone. Jamal goes and has another baby with Tatiana. They're together. They're in a relationship. Tyrone has a second baby with Tatiana, raising that child. Keisha is with Tyrone. Maybe they have a baby. Maybe they don't. Tyrone breaks up with Keisha. Keisha now goes back to being a single mom. Tyrone has completely moved on. And, he's out there raising a family. Or you could flip it if you want. You could say that Keisha went off and married, another man and went off and had a wonderful relationship. Because this is where you get the whole aspect of the first child is typically born out of wedlock in the black community. And then subsequent children are more likely to be born in wedlock, right? So whether you want to look at it from the angle of Tatiana or whether you want to look at it from the angle of Keisha, either way, the households are already split. And the problem is that the men tend to raise the children that they live with. So if Jamal is living with Tatiana and he's got 2 kids by Tatiana, and Keisha, who is typically going to get primary custody of the first child that they have together, if she can't secure a relationship with another man, then that first child is typically going to go without. Even if the resources are there, there's no father, there's no man present in that household. Even if Jamal is meeting his financial obligations, Jamal is paying for his first child, but he's got two children that he's raising that he's more focused on because he has a working relationship with the mother and he lives with the mother. So these are the type of situations. So while everybody's running around focused on Keisha and her child that doesn't have a father in the life, what gets ignored is that there's two other children that are fully being raised by a responsible father in another household. That's where a lot of the problem comes in, and people aren't having an honest conversation about that sort of dynamic in the black community. It is called multi-partner family formation. Google it, look it up, research it, and you will discover that black men are not as much the monsters as they've been painted out to be. Aside from the fact that, again, you have 54% of black men that have no damn children. That's over half. So while you have the majority of black women who are mothers, you have a minority of black men who are actually fathers. The majority of black men don't even have any kids. They're not even in this conversation. And this is why there is a gender war. This is why there is a back and forth. Because most of the time when you look at these podcasts and you look at these interviews and you look at these back and forths between black men and black women, what you're going to see is disproportionately the women are mothers and the men have no kids. And technically speaking, these people should not be having a conversation when you have a man who is not interested in dealing with single mothers. Parents should be having conversations with parents about what their parental responsibilities are and what issues they have. Childless black people should be having conversations with other childless black people. And again, the biggest reason why these conversations get so nasty is because of the fact that the majority of black men are childless and the majority of black women are mothers. Even when we get to the interracial conversation and, everybody, black women running around talking about their singleness. Even when we get to the interracial conversation, one of the things that continues to not come up is the abundance of non-black women that are childless relative to black men. Because, again, we have, even though black women outnumber black men by about 2 million, there's 10.8 million childless black men to 8.5 million childless black women. And again, if we want to go into age cohorts, because obviously a 25-year-old black man is not trying to get with a 45-year-old black woman, right? And vice versa, right? Then those numbers shrink significantly, for black men in particular. But when you look, like, example, the white community, there's I think the number is 98.7 million white women in this country. And I believe the number is, 46 point, 46 point, let me go back up. I want to make sure I get these numbers right. So we have, what is this? How many white women are mothers? 54.6% of white women are mothers. So that's going to be, what is that going to be? What is that, 54? So that's going to be 46.4. So 98.7 times 46.4% is going to give me 45.7 million, or 45.79. So let's just say 45.8 million white women that are childless. Because remember, only 44% of white men are the only ones that become fathers. Like I said before, you can pair up every black man with every white woman, you're still going to have white women left over that white men aren't even using. But I'm saying, in terms of being African American, living in this predominantly white country, When y'all get to bitching about, oh, why is he over there with Becky? One of the things that gets ignored in the conversation, forget whether Becky's cooperative, forget whether Becky an attitude or not, and all the behavioral shit that Becky white girls do this and that. That don't even matter. The key thing is you can't, while I say you can't throw a rock without hitting a single mother in the black community, you can't throw a rock in the white community without hitting a childless woman. Relatively speaking, for black men, you can't throw a rock. You're going to hit a childless white woman. There's 10 point, there's the ratio is, what is that? Freaking, 45.79 divided by 10.8, 4.2. So there's 4.2 times. We'll just say 4 times. There's 4 times as many childless white women as there are childless black men. This is the shit that Umar Johnson, with all his PhD-ness, doesn't bring up when he's just sitting there, doing his pander bullshit. The numbers tell you everything that you need to know. No, the problem is that childless black women are the smallest demographic, in the black community. And you have less than half of black men that are actually fathers. If there was a higher percentage of black men that were fathers, this would be less of a conversation. But you have over half of black men that are childless. And again, this needs to be doubly emphasized because of the rhetoric in the black community, where black women are talking and speaking to black men as though we all got kids that we've all abandoned. And again, even when it comes to the fathers, they may not be taking care of one of the children while they're taking care of the another 2 or another 3. Because these relationships are falling apart because they were built on unstable foundations at a very young age. These are the kids that end up falling through the cracks. And I've heard this several times. The issue. I mean, hell, it happened to Captain Solo's sister. Where you have a man that got with another woman and has an outside child, and then goes and has a whole nother intact family. Now that situation is kind of new. I don't know if they were separated or what the deal was. I don't know if he was married or cheating or whatever, and if that's the case, he doesn't get a pass on that shit. But I'm saying most, as you can see from the CDC chart, most of these situations are non-cohabitating, not married. There is no he was married to another woman. That's why, I was watching some other video and the woman was talking about what did she say? Something about how terrible something black men are in marriage or something like that. I was like, most of y'all ain't even married. Like, why are you talking about the problems in black marriages when most black people aren't even married? I'm like, get married first. Then we can talk about how much this is get to 50% first. You're only at 28%. Get the marriages to 50% at least. Then we can have some serious conversations about what the problems are within, black marriages. You know what I mean? It's just crazy. The woman was trying to act like she could join in the conversation with white women, that where you have the majority of white women are married when they have their first child, and acting like a black woman could chime in on that conversation. I'm like, you can't chime in on that conversation. Majority of those women are married when they have their first child. Majority of sisters are not. And then black women will try to jump up and they'll be like, well, that's because black men aren't married. Why are you having a child by a man that you're not married to? You have full control over that. You have full control over that. It's not, again, it's not, where are these drive-by ejaculations? Like, y'all need to stop. You have full, again, my body, my choice. You have full control over determining who you have a baby by and when that baby comes into the world. You know, the idea that somehow, you have to have a baby and that the man didn't do the right thing because he didn't marry you after you got pregnant is nonsense. Why are you getting pregnant? Why are you busting it wide open with no protection on by a man that has not put a, what happened to, seeing no marry, no carry? No, what happened to what is it? No wedding, no womb. What happened to that? It's just everybody running around talking about that. That's y'all discipline, when it comes to that shit. That's y'all discipline. And when it comes to the men, yes, the men should not be running around raw dogging women and whatnot. But again, the majority of black men are not even participating in that. I mean, you really got to think about, the reality. I had a sister, I talked about this in my other video. I had a sister talking about, what about the men that are fathers that are over the fence? And I'm like, what about them? I mean, hell, you got black women that got, kids over the fence. And then you got people that got kids that they got one mixed child and one full black child. But I'm saying, fuck it, let's go with that. Again, we already know that chances are there's more black men that have kids, just looking at the marriage numbers, black men marry out twice as much, right? So, just by, what do you want to call it, deductive reasoning, and I know I should take it further than that, but we don't have any of the data, okay? Because, they play funny games when it comes to biracial people. They're like, at least a parent with at least one black parent. But I'm like, how come you don't count? Are you counting them twice? You know what I mean? It does. What happens to how many white mothers have mixed children? You know what I'm saying? But they don't do that. So why are we doing that with black people, trying to factor in mixed people? Because they damn sure ain't doing it with the Asians and the Hispanics and the white folks. It doesn't make sense to do that, right? Because if they're not doing that with them, why are we doing that with us? Because it's not like we can go off and have mixed children without their participation. That doesn't make any sense. But anyway, entertaining this woman's, her argument, I'm like, you do realize that all you would do is subtract from that 46%, and you have even less black men that you all are actually producing black children with. So you would have more black women, a higher number of black women who are producing children with even fewer black men, which only reinforces what black men have been saying about you all getting with a minority of black men and producing children with a minority of black men that you all are sharing. Like going back to my analogy with Jamal, I could say, oh no, I won't even use Jamal. I'll use Tyrone. And Tyrone, let's say Tyrone got with Keisha, had a baby with Keisha, and then Keisha and Tyrone broke up. So now Keisha got 2 kids by 2 different men. And then Tyrone goes off and gets with another chick and has a baby by another chick, and then has a baby by another chick after that. Again, just like I said with the freaking Lily Phillips and all these white guys trying to splash holy water all over the place, talking about how unclean and impure and how much degeneracy she represents. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, but you had 100 guys participate in that. You want to talk about how much of a bust down she is, but I'm like, but 100 guys lined up to have sex with Lily Phillips. But you're not going to talk about the 100 guys. And I say the same thing to black women. I'm like, you got, like that Inyala episode where she had 6 guys and I think, what was it, 50 women? I'm like, but I can't look at the 50 black women and be like, what the hell were you on? 6 dudes. Yeah, those 6 dudes we can talk about, oh, they were irresponsible, everything else like that. But I have more black women participating in this dynamic. See, this changes the calculus, because let black women tell it. It would, it's just every black man is out here that got multiple baby mamas, and we're all just spreading our seed all over the place. And black women, they all just really wanted to be married and be housewives, but black men are just out here running through bitches. No, no. Black women don't even begin to even feel like that until they hit their 30s. When they get into their 30s, the shame of having kids by multiple men, that's when that shit sinks in, because people look at you sideways. And even when it comes to black women who are trying to, elevate and enter a career and whatnot, let me tell you, black women in corporate America that have kids by more than one man, that shit is frowned upon, because in that space, if you can even make it to that space, you're surrounded by women who are married and have kids by one man. You might have some divorces in there, but the women end up getting remarried before they have another child. They disproportionately have children within the confines of wedlock. So when it comes to black women, we can talk about, the economic disparity of black men, yada, yada, yada. But again, if this is so much of a problem that you all identify, why are you all just going ahead and having kids? You all are going to have to own that part. Even if you want to say black men are economically depressed and black men don't have X, Y, and Z, and black men are unfit to follow. Okay, well, a black man who's unfit to follow is also unfit to father children. Why are you having babies? Well, I want to experience motherhood. Okay, then. Well, then you got to own that. You got to own that. If you're just out here having babies because you feel it is the time and you just want to have a baby, that's why you had a baby. That's literally what Cynthia G did. Because Cynthia G was not a child or not a young adolescent woman when she had a baby. Cynthia G went out there and had a baby because she wanted to have a baby. And I shouldn't even say children, because children don't even count in that dynamic. When you want to talk about the that stupid ass cohort that the CDC comes up with 15 to freaking 20. That's the dumbest cohort I ever heard about. First off, let me say for the record, the 15-year-olds are one of the most vulnerable populations, and you will see that, even though it's a small percentage of them, but you will see that the 15-year-olds are the ones that are the most violated, because they have the biggest gap between them and the men that got them pregnant. That is the vulnerable population. But when you get into, the 17-year-olds, the 18-year-olds, and the 19-year-olds, though the boys that are getting them pregnant, or the young men that are getting them pregnant, are only slightly older than they are. They're peers. They went to school together. She was a freshman, he was a senior. She was a sophomore, he was a senior, or he just graduated, or some shit like that. That's what you see. They know each other. They're in the same what do you want to call it? They're in the same cohort. And then again, what makes it really stupid is you have 3 years of childhood, 15, 16, and 17, and then you have freaking 2 years of adulthood. And you're calling all of that teen pregnancy. They really need to fix that. They really need to fix that. You can enter into legal contracts. You can go off to war and die. You can vote. You can buy cigarettes. I mean, just all of it. But she's 19. She's too young to be a mother. Oh, she had, And yes, I do think that 19 is too young to be a mother. But we have these fine lines of adulthood versus childhood, or being a minor, for a reason. It does mean something. An 18-year-old doesn't have to go and petition the court to be emancipated. They're an adult. A very foolish adult, but an adult nonetheless. But I'm just saying, these it's stupid to have conversations in the black community about the birth rates and the marriage rates and the singleness of black women or singleness of black men. And people are having an argument based off of mythos, as opposed to having an argument based off of actual real world facts and numbers. And this is my problem with Umar Johnson, because Umar Johnson goes up there babbling with no numbers. No numbers. Go look at the numbers. I don't want to hear anybody else talk about the singleness of black women, or why black men are exploring dating outside of their race and over the fence, when you have this parental gap in the black community. A black young man, say, oh, go to school, get an education, go to college. By the time that young man goes to college and graduates, 3 years later, 77% of the black women who will ever become mothers are already mothers. By the time he's 27, it's over 80% of the black women who will ever become mothers are already mothers. In his age group. So he's got to either A, reach back, which again, how far is he going to reach back? Because again, 42% of the women are already having kids by age 20. It's not like he can sit there and go, oh, let me go back to and go find me a 20-year-old at 27 years old when almost, I shouldn't say almost half, but again, 42% are already mothers at that point. That was one of the things that I felt when I graduated college and went to grad school and all that. I mean, you come out thinking like, yeah, man, it's gonna be, where are my Kerry Washingtons? Where are they wrapped around the block? And even if you find a chick that you're attracted to, everything, and I mean, even in grad school, there was a chick who she was fine. I mean, everybody, even white boys, was trying to shoot their shot. And no, she had a kid. She had a kid. I mean, just pretty face. I mean, she looked like Momo. 100% looked like Momo. Pretty face. Had an ass on her. Had the audacity to have an ass on her. Had a small waist after having a kid. I mean, she looked like like Momo, or like who else did she look like? Nia Long. Like she was on that level of pretty. Already had a kid though. Already had a kid. You see, so I mean, the fact of the matter is, and I was looking at a post the other night, and the woman was saying in there, she was like, high value men are not interested, with women with kids. And what pissed me off is she was like, at least if they, she was like, I could see if you had at least one. And one guy in the comment section, he had my sentiment. No, chick, one is too many. Don't try to reduce it down to one. Like, oh, well, see, she got 3-4 kids, but I only got one. One is too damn many. You see, the black men that came before us, they already did the stepdaddy thing. Them niggas in the 90s, them Gen Xers, you know what I mean? And the generation before that, the boomers, they did that game. It's a thankless job. We're not playing that game. We see the liability on top of the disrespect that some black women are stupid enough to come on the internet with and talk about, how much they baby daddy that's taking care of them and they 3 kids is a simp. We know that there's already no value when it comes to ELs, period. Childless ELs don't have any value with you all. So when you get the black woman that suddenly she's got a kid, now all of a sudden she's in the ELs and she's looking for Russell Wilson responsibility. Y'all don't talk too much. Y'all don't share everything online. Congratulations to the oversharing. Y'all done shared everything. So we know. You know what I mean? On top of the fact that brothers are sharing information, they're comparing notes online. You know what I mean? That's what y'all really don't like about the manosphere. You know what I mean? The manosphere are they're like, hey, this was my experience. Okay, boom, duly noted. Let me write that down. Sisters do this, and this is what happened to you. Okay, boom. And then we just tally up how many other brothers have that same experience. Okay, so circle this box, this is a thing. You know what I mean? And then we take that and then we go out and we move and function accordingly because we have this information. We are in the age of information. You know what I mean? All that shit that y'all have been running with this women are sugar and spice and everything nice. And we love Jesus and, we're good Christian, Western. And I'm looking for a God-fearing man. All that okie doke that y'all used to run on the Gen Xers and the boomers, that shit don't work on us. We know what time it is. That's why you hear these young men out here screaming, she for the streets. That's why you hear men saying that shit. But again, I mean, you go into the freaking, what is that? Let's look at the Latino community. The Latino community, did I already do the numbers? what is it? The Latinos are like 66% of the population. No, not 66% of the population. There's 66 million of them. So let's just cut that number in half. So 33 million. Hold on. 33. Wait. 33 million times. So black women were 61, and that means that they were 39%. So 38%. So 12.54. So 12.5 million Latinas are childless. Because remember, they're a bigger population. So again, that 10 point, what is that? The for 10.8 million childless black men, the Latinas, there's whatever 2.5, no, not 2.5 million, about two. Hold on, let me do this. 1.74 million more Latinas. That's like that's the damn near the difference between black women and black men in terms of population, with just the number of Latinas that are childless. Where, in other words, there's that, I think it's a 2.3 million deficit for black women, where there's a 1.74 million childless Latina surplus going over the fence. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are the things, like, when y'all get to, oh, why are black men, why are they over there? Are they childless? That's the first question that should be asked. Not what she looks like, not what her attitude is like, not what her demeanor is like. Is she childless? Oh, she childless? Okay, and you're not childless? You lose. You lose. The level of responsibility that comes with a childless person taking on parental responsibilities is crazy. It's crazy for black women to act like they're entitled to that. If a man wants to do that, hey, brother, whatever, more power to you. I hope you don't get fucked over. That's all I can say. But you all are not entitled to that. And again, I think another problem is you childless black women, you keep aligning yourself with baby mamas. And, you keep doing that. And, seriously speaking, black men can't tell. They cannot tell, who you are, where you are. They can't tell. We got to ask the specific question, like, why are you caping for the shit? You know what I mean? Hell, if I could have a T-shirt that says 54% on it, I'd wear a T-shirt that says 54% and just walk around with that motherfucker. Okay? I don't give a fuck about what fathers have to say about what they think their value is or some bullshit like that. But y'all be over there trying to be loyal to the sisterhood, trying to cape for single mothers and whatnot. I'm like, do you have any kids? Why are you caping so hard? You do realize this bitch thinks that she's better than you and thinks that she's on par with your discipline. I'm like, how come you're 25 and don't have any kids? Well, I don't believe in having kids unless I'm married. Well, guess what? She didn't believe in that. So why does she get to be on par with you? Why do you allow her to be in the same space and come off with the same arguments? Why do you allow that shit? You see me over here checking the fuck out of fathers. I'm like, nah, nigga, like, you gotta sit down. You know what I mean? And that shit might get the blows. It might get the blows. Just like when Cap, was on the train in New York, and there was a guy, I don't know if he was with him, like, they were doing like contract work, and the guy, he had I forget what he had. He had, like, I think he had 6 kids total, because one of the women that he got with, she ended up having either twins or triplets on his ass. So he ended up with, and the thing is, he was trying to talk to some chick on the train, and she was like, well, do you have any kids? And he was like, yeah, I got kids. And she was like, how many do you have? He says 6. And she was like, oh, no, thank you. I think you have enough on your plate. And then the dude snapped, and he was like, you don't know what I got. You don't know what I got going on. And Cap had, basically checked his ass. He was like, hey, my man, I think you got enough going on. You know what I mean? Because Cap wasn't having it. You know, as an older childless man, he's like, man, the hell, you got 6 kids, man. You got enough going on. You know, and the thing is what what Cap said is that he said that the chick actually, she was going to give him the time of day if he only had one, which that was her prerogative. But when he said 6, she was just like, nah, I'm good. Like, that's just way too much. And again, he got kind of hit with a doozy because, like I said, he either had twins or he had triplets. I forget which one it was. But I know that one of the women had, she had a litter of children on his ass. And he was pissed. But Cap was like, I think you need to check yourself. I think you need to sit down. And that's the dude that was on some, you don't know what I got going on. You don't know what I got going on. Yeah, I don't know what you got going on, but I know that you got more than enough that should preoccupy you for enough time that you don't need to be running around trying to chase bitches on the train. I mean, just plain and simple. If you want to run through, I don't understand some dudes. It's like, if you want to run through bitches, not that I'm advocating for it, because you can't sit there and talk about, these women aren't God, they're not wifey material, they're not God-fearing, and then you're out here running through bitches. These women, all they want to do is get on the cock carousel, but I am the cock carousel. Like, the fuck? Like, how does that work? Right? But by the same token, it's like, if you want to run through a bunch of women, nigga, just do that. Put the condom on and run through a bunch of women. But no, that's not what you do. You go and you want to, fuck a whole bunch of women, and then you want to complain that all these women are single mothers, and that's just retarded. But anyway, that's my video. SWP out. Don't forget to comment, share, like, and subscribe.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Hello?
Where
Where we at? Oh, you want to know where I'm at? We outside!